The relentless Lagos sun beat down, turning the metal shell of my Uber into an oven. Inside, the recycled air conditioning struggled, a faint whir accompanying the symphony of car horns and the distant drone of generators.
Another day, another gridlock on the way back to my quiet apartment in Lekki Phase 1, the evening rush hour, a familiar, exhausting ritual. My phone buzzed, cutting through the low radio music, and I saw Mama Fund Me on the screen. A genuine smile touched my lips, a rare moment of peace after months of a draining separation and divorce. Tunde, my son, God is good, oh, you won't believe what has happened. The landlord, he finally wants to sell this apartment in Ibadan, the one I've rented for 35 years, and he's offered it to me first. Tunde, my own house, can you imagine? My heart sank faster than a faulty Danfo bus hitting one of those hidden potholes on the Lagos-Ibadan expressway. My carefully constructed world, just beginning to find its balance after the storm of my divorce, was now threatening to crumble again. I had just restructured my finances, finally paid off a significant chunk of my own new mortgage, thinking I was finally free, finally ahead. Now this. The weight of her joyful expectation pressed down on me, heavy and suffocating. I remembered the last time she'd played such a pivotal role in my life. During the messy separation and eventual divorce, Mama had lent me a substantial amount of money from her carefully hoarded savings. It was a lifeline then, a warm blanket in a cold, lonely period. I'd promised to repay her over 10 years, adding a generous gifts at the end, a gesture in lieu of formal interest, but more so, a thank you from my heart. It felt like a fair, honorable agreement at the time. After selling our family home and buying my new, smaller place in Lekki, I was stretched thin, navigating a hefty mortgage at a punishing 6.75% interest rate. Then, a miracle, a lump sum from my pension fund landed in my account. My immediate thought was to send it all to Mama to settle my debt. But my financial advisor, a sharp, no-nonsense man named Emeka, looked at me gravely. Tunde, use this wisely. Remortgage now. Drop that interest rate. Shorten your term. You'll pay slightly more per month, yes, but think of the long-term freedom. It made sense. It was a pathway to solid ground. I called Mama Fund Me, explained I'd still honor our original 10-year repayment plan, but that I'd invested the lump sum to secure my own future. She'd seemed to understand, her tone gentle and reassuring. Or so I had tragically, foolishly believed. Tunde, are you listening? This is serious. Oh, she needs her money now, not in 10 years. The landlord said if she doesn't pay in 3 months, he'll sell to someone else, plain and simple. Her voice, usually so calm and measured, was now edged with a raw panic that echoed deep in my gut. My stomach churned, a knot tightening with each word. There was only one option, a terrifying one. I had to get another loan. I spent the next few weeks in a blur of anxiety, driving my rickety Honda from the towering corporate buildings of Victoria Island to the bustling financial districts of Ikeja, meeting with bank managers whose smiles seemed to hide a cruel calculus. Each call, each application, each rejection felt like a physical blow. The interest rates were not just high. They were insane, skyrocketing with every shift in the Nigerian economy. Omo, Tunde, these rates are not for the faint-hearted, one bank manager had told me, shaking his head apologetically. Each quote felt like a fresh punch to the gut. I saw my carefully planned financial future, the one I'd worked so tirelessly to secure after my divorce, dissolving before my eyes, replaced by a looming shadow of debt. Lagos, usually a city of vibrant possibilities, now felt like a relentless maze designed to trap me. After what felt like an eternity, but was really just a harrowing 3 weeks, I finally secured a loan. The terms, however, were brutal. The interest alone was an amount I'd never imagined I'd have to shoulder, a monstrous sum that dwarfed the original gifts I'd planned for Mama. I called her, my voice tight with the effort of trying to sound normal, trying to explain the new, crushing financial burden without directly sounding like I was complaining about helping her. Mama, I began, choosing my words carefully, this loan, it's really costing me a lot. With these crazy interest rates, it's much more than I thought. Her response was immediate, cheerful, and utterly oblivious. Ah, Tunde, my son, don't worry about that small gift you promised before. Forget it. Just pay me back the principal. God will bless you abundantly for helping your mother secure her home. Small gift? The gift was meant to be a token of gratitude, a stand-in for interest on her initial loan to me. But this new loan meant I was now paying outrageous, soul-crushing interest for her unexpected urgent need. Urgent need! My blood ran cold. The irony, the sheer disconnect was a bitter pill to swallow. How could I make her understand without spoiling her joy, without sounding ungrateful, without breaking her heart? I couldn't. I just wanted her to have her home, her peace of mind. So I swallowed my own, burying the truth beneath a forced smile. For months, the monthly loan payment loomed over me like a dark, thunderous cloud, casting a perpetual shadow over my days.
My life, once slowly regaining its rhythm after the divorce, was now a constant exercise in austerity.
I used to enjoy the occasional treat, like a plate of delicious asun from the roadside buka near my office in Ikeha, or a weekend outing with friends to a lounge on Victoria Island. Now, every single kobo was accounted for, scrutinized, rationed. I found myself taking crowded Danville buses more often than Ubers, enduring the jostling and the loud music, packing a simple lunch of leftover jollof rice and plantain from home instead of buying anything. Even a small piece of suya felt like an unconscionable luxury. The constant hum of generators in Lekki, the never-ending symphony of traffic, the vibrant chaos of the markets, they all seemed to mock my strained existence, my forced sacrifices. I'd held my mother, yes, the dutiful son, but at what personal cost? The stress was eating at me, manifesting in short temper, restless nights, and a constant, low-level anxiety. But how could I complain? To whom? It was for Mama. It had to be for Mama. One sweltering evening, after a particularly grueling day, stuck for hours in the notorious traffic on the Apapa-Owodonshoki Expressway, the exhaust fumes thick in the air, my phone rang. It was Mama Funmi. Her voice was bright, full of life as she gisted excitedly about the small renovation she planned for her new home, detailing paint colors and new curtains. I listened, forcing a cheerful tone, my exhaustion growing with each happy detail, knowing my money was making all this possible. Then, casually, as if asking for a cup of sugar from a neighbor, she dropped the bomb. You know, Tunde, in the future, I might need to borrow a little more money from you for some furniture. Nothing big, just small, to complete the look. I froze. My blood, already thick with the day's stress, turned to ice. Small? Small? My mouth opened, but no words came out, caught in a suffocating wave of shock and disbelief. All the unspoken sacrifice, the crushing interest, the years of struggle ahead of me to clear this new, massive debt, it all converged into one white-hot, uncontrollable surge of anger. The weight of the unspoken truth, the silent burden, broke through the dam I'd built. "Mama," I heard myself say, my voice tight, strained, barely recognizable, that won't be possible. I can't." Silence. Silence. A chilling, pregnant silence that stretched across the miles between us, filled only by the distant hum of my generator. Then her voice erupted, sharp and wounded, laced with disbelief. "What'd be this, Tunde? Are you telling your own mother no? After all I have done for you? After everything?" She started shouting, a torrent of accusations, of guilt trips about my childhood, of how I was forgetting my roots, her voice rising in pitch until it was a painful screech in my ear. My head throbbed, a relentless drumbeat of pain and indignation. I couldn't take it, couldn't listen to another word. My fingers, trembling violently, fumbled for the end call button. I muttered a weak apology, then hung up. The silence in my apartment that followed was deafening, but her harsh words, her accusations, echoed relentlessly in my mind. Later that night, as the city lights twinkled indifferently outside my window, an email arrived. It was long. It was brutal. It was accusatory. Apparently, she wrote, I am the asshole for misleading her about my feelings about taking out a massive loan when interest rates have just skyrocketed. Misled her? I was drowning financially and emotionally, sacrificing my own stability for her dream, and she thought I was just being difficult, withholding, and deceitful. The pain of her words cut deeper than any financial burden. I reread her scorching email a dozen times, each word a fresh stab, a new bruise on my already fragile spirit. Was I truly the asshole? In our Nigerian culture, the unspoken expectation for children to care for their parents, to sacrifice, is ingrained from birth. And I loved my mother truly, deeply. But this wasn't just caring. This was a financial anchor around my neck, a heavy chain pulling me deeper into the murky waters of debt. I thought about her, bustling happily in the vibrant Bodija market in Ibadan, now buying fabric for her new curtains, proudly owning her apartment, all thanks to my silent, crushing sacrifice. I imagined her making a pot of delicious amala and ewedu soup, happy and content in her own space. A wave of exhaustion tinged with a profound sadness washed over me. It wasn't about the money, not entirely. It was about the unspoken truth, the immense, invisible burden I carried alone, and her complete, heartbreaking unawareness of it. It was about the emotional toll of knowing she saw me as ungrateful when all I had done was give. The weight of that misunderstanding was heavier than any loan payment. Weeks slowly bled into months. We spoke again, eventually, carefully, tentatively. The easy, unburdened warmth that had defined our relationship was gone, replaced by an underlying tension, a fragile truce born of unspoken resentments and unaddressed hurts. I still sent her money for other things, small contributions to her comfort, but the invisible line had been drawn, etched in the raw pain of that phone call and subsequent emails. My mother had her beautiful home in Ibadan, secured by my financial despair, and I had my monstrous loan slowly chipping away at my future. It was a heavy price, not just financially, but emotionally, a profound lesson in boundaries and self-worth. I learned that day that sometimes, even with the deepest love, even with the ingrained cultural expectations, you have to protect yourself. That sacrifice, while noble and well-intentioned, can become a silent, corrosive killer if it's not acknowledged, or worse, if it's casually taken for granted. The sprawling Lagos skyline, with its glittering night lights and endless, dizzying possibilities, now also reminded me of the hidden costs, the invisible burdens we as sons and daughters carry for those we love. My mother, in her pain, called me an asshole. Maybe, in her eyes, in the context of her world, I was. But in mine, I was just a son, finally learning to breathe again, finally learning the harsh, unforgiving truths about love, sacrifice, and the value of my own stability in an unforgiving city.